How's it going there?
I got myself muted. You gonna be on camera, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Closing the door. Mm-mm-mm. Well, Jen on. I know she said her invite had disappeared.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool, cool. How you doing?
Good, good.
All right, that's what's up. I think we're ready. Get the show rocking and rolling. Just want to set my I just set it up right there. My questions. All right, cool. We're recording, we're transcribing. So, welcome to an edition of the Atlanta Voice, the tech edition. We got Tech Week coming up in Atlanta. And is that national or is that just Atlanta? Like, I was trying to figure that part out. You there, Mike? Did we lose him, Jan? Yeah, look like we lost him. All right, there we go. You there, Mike?
All right. So let me, I've been having this issue where which one of those links turn on my darn uh video. So bear with me as I figure out this glitch here. You know how it gives you those three links?
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, I noticed that um,
It's not allowing your video to come on.
can't believe I'm the one having the glitch here. Alrighty. You see me right now?
Let's go back.
And then what I'm just trying to do is see
Yeah.
about getting
So
this
turn
on.
turn it horizontal if you can, the camera. You're on your cell phone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
All right, it
But I'm
should.
gonna try to switch to my back to the computer. I'm just trying to get the damn
It's not working. Yeah, well, is
yeah,
your camera
it'll come
already?
on. Just bear with me real quick. How come it just went to blur?
Yeah, it's blurred. And it's not rotating. Because I wanted to use some of the footage too to actual create some
Yeah,
clips to post.
okay.
So I
I
want
got you
to,
covered. I'm gonna get it right. So
let
logging in.
let me
Who
see if you're in on this other.
I noticed when
Recording in progress.
Did you do the other one? Try the other one. Yeah, your camera isn't coming on the other one.
is
Let me see.
I'm gonna get it right. Let's try it again. Hmm. Jennifer sent this link.
No, I created it. You
Okay.
want me to send another link somewhere else?
No, this should be fine. But usually, like I can click off one and then the other pops up that the camera comes on, which is I
Hmm.
don't quite understand uh, why that's happening. Like this time around, it's not even giving me the option. Okay, wait, how did that happen?
I think the feature on your
That was
cell phone
phone.
is
All
not
right,
on, but that turns the camera horizontal.
all right. This is
But
kind of interesting.
you have a iPhone, right?
Samsung.
You got a Samsung? Yeah. So if you if you do that pull down tab,
Yeah, I know to turn it this way. I do that.
but you unlock, but it's not full screen. See, I wanted it to be full screen for the video. So
Yeah,
you
let me
unlock it.
the portrait.
Yeah, unlock the portrait mode. And you have it where it's the two
There
line
we go.
arrows. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can use that.
Okay. Do this work?
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we
All
can rock
right.
this. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. All right, I got everything recording. Cool. You good? You ready?
Yeah.
Get the
Uh-huh.
show on the road. Just pulling up my questions here. All right, there we go. Boom, boom, boom. All right, man. So we got, yo, check this out. Check this out. So we have, yo, check this out with Mike Johns. How you doing today, man? Welcome to Atlanta Voice, the voice of
Yes.
the ATL, one of the oldest newspapers here in the city, man. Been around for 60 years and growing. So tell us about this book, man. Congratulations on writing the book, Death of a Job. You
Yes.
know, the first question that I have with this book that was just like glaring is this book meant to be a warning, a prediction, or a roadmap for what's coming?
That's a very good question. Really, it's your user-friendly guide to navigate the future. That's the best description for it. It's a combination of the warning, like we got to make sure that the culture is aware of what's going on and how to navigate this future that we're in. And I'd love to start it off with you remember the COVID, when COVID was out.
Hmm.
And coming from the West Coast, it was looking at the news and it was over there. There went to near went to it's here. That's the same philosophy that I say that we have to adapt with AI technology, not something that's over there, that's something that's near. No, it's here. And it's here to the point that it's taken away jobs. When this book came out, we saw what Elon Musk and Trump did with the government sector. We're seeing that in the private sector. We're definitely feeling the heat within the tech sector. Just recently, the other day, Microsoft laid off people. It just goes on and on and on. So it's very interesting times that we're in with the book Death of a Job.
Mm. So, what job is safe with AI? Are there any jobs? Are there any spaces that are safe?
Right now, the area that I'd say, especially for the culture for Atlanta Voice, this is in Death of a Job. The creator economy is real. That's a booming industry. Anyone that has a smartphone is an enabler. You're a publisher, you're a broadcaster, you're a producer. And we have a lot of proof out there where films have been made on your phones, uh, music videos to songs. That's the new wave. You're doing that right there on your phone. So the creator economy is foolproof. That's the booming industry. Leveraging that with AI is even better to be more sustainable. Other jobs, I like to say anything that is a I create mode. And we got to remember we're the ones that built the pyramid. So we have to really get back into that DNA of creator. That's where it's all about the creator economy, being the value in any corporate setting is being the one that leverages AI to create outcomes. And that's the key thing. It's not just about prompting, it's about being able to go from a resume to actually a portfolio of what I can do. And those things that I could do should probably wrap around how you could be the value to the company.
Okay, so you say in the I create mode, right?
Yeah, I create. So,
Let's unpack that. So
mhm.
does that mean that, well, I'll just let you explain it. I don't want to put words in your mouth. How do we define I create mode?
And when that I received that download from the Father
Because
up
I love it.
above,
I think it's a genius term.
yeah, the because it's you, the individual, and you have to get back into what God had you do in your natural design. And we're all creators, so we have to tap into that. And by what it is that you create, there's your value. Maximize that. Leverage the AI tools so that you could be even greater with that. Create with AI. I like to say the human in the loop, the human in the robot. You are the creator. You are the one above all to be able to get back and maintain dominance. The creator economy, content creation is easy because anyone can come up with a skit, right? You could put one in the air and just come up with your own skit and look at the post it on social and watch it go viral. Now you want to make that into a sustainable business. How do I do that? Well, this is where you now are getting into strategy play. You're getting into understanding content creation. And that content creation would be something from short form to long form content to be able to be eye catchy, appealing, to then ultimately you're getting advertising and making a business out of it. And right now, one of the things that we just recently reported on is the fact that we've seen the success of short form content with TikTok to YouTube. It's the dominant. The attention spans of most people now has gotten to a YouTube short. To the fact that now Netflix is experimenting with shorts on the Netflix platform that's going to be rolling out. We just got the report that this week they're starting to experiment with short form content. So what does that mean in the I create mode? That means now that what was once called a trailer is now your short. And now your strategic play is going to be one of this little short has to be so action packed from A to X. A to X, not A to Z, A to X, that now becomes the appetizer to the full course meal called a full length production. And that's the big thing now. That little short that you only paid maybe 5,000 to produce, to then, based on the numbers that you get, can now go into a full scale production. But that's just in content creation. When I look at I create it to say that, hey, I'm now working at Amazon or I work for a trucking company right there in the South. What can I do in my I create mode to be the value? So
Mhm.
in that capacity, it's looking at workflows, looking at the workflows of what one does in the job and how can I optimize, make this even better. At the end of the day, for a company, how can you produce me money? How can you keep safety alive? How can you improve the workflow? Those are three core things. How do you make me more money? How do you improve the workflow of what we do? What was the third one that I just said? Um, anything that's dangerous or just improvement. Forgot that third point that I just made, but the end game is the core is being somebody that can improve the current workflow to ultimately allow me to make more money. That's a part
Mhm.
that I create. And companies are looking for that value. How are you now bringing that value to the table? Not about having your degree from Georgia Tech anymore. That's a theory. That's, hey, this looks good on a resume. Now it's about what your GitHub looks like and what is that portfolio of what you can bring. Are you one that just prompt, that's the old days of just prompt, or are you now creating workflows that integrate intelligence? Can you build intelligence to do jobs and create solutions? It's all about outputs. What are the outputs that you can bring to the table? Input, output.
Mhm. No, that's great. That's great. We've always worried about robots replacing factory workers. And
Yes.
now AI is replacing writers, they're replacing programmers, designers, And in some case,
Mhm.
even lawyers.
Oh,
Is any
absolutely.
profession truly safe?
Every, I'll say it this way, every profession is already impacted by AI. It's your job to leverage AI. If it's not impacted just yet, it's coming. So it's your job to start learning AI. Let's just talk about the hair industry.
Hmm.
You'll still go to the barber to get
Hmm.
the haircut, but we've already seen TikTok videos that now they got automated processes to do the haircut. That's amazing, right? And that just falls in line with if your job is a routine, then chances are it could be automated. If it could be automated, then you can best believe physical AI can do that. Physical AI is saying it's a robot. So that's what you first want to think of. If my job is a routine, look at the routines of life. And that's where algorithms come into play because those algorithms start to understand what your routine is. Now, what is the outcomes that you're producing? If it's just the same mundane process, then a monkey can do it. And that's really what they're calling the monkey business.
Yeah, the monkey jobs.
Yeah.
So, would you let an AI robot cut your hair?
Just today, yeah, I would. I'd be the first to try it the same way I was the first in my family Jamaican to get into the Waymo vehicle. Just
Okay.
today, now where it becomes very interesting is today, University of San Diego, there was the first robot performed surgery on the heart.
That was today.
That was today. You just record
Wow.
that. You have that in your inbox. So that's a
Okay.
powerful thing. That's a historic feat. Would I want that or the human? And it's the same Waymo data that is who's more accurate at doing this. The autonomous vehicle industry says that these are more safer than human driving. We also know that in the doctor business, he could have woke up or she could have woke up on a bad day and she had her optimal level for this surgery. Did she get her coffee for this surgery? Was she out partying last night? We've seen the movie with Denzel, the life of what these doctors live, and that is not necessarily pretty either. Or the pilots, right? They're human, so this notion of the robot being to outperform a human, you have to take that into consideration. You have to take in the fact that the accuracy level could be just that. Do you want to operate on a 75% chance that we can do this spinal surgery on you, or a 98% chance that the robot can do the spinal surgery? That gets to be real tough. It's like, you know what? The robot, I'll take that route.
So you're gonna take the robot over the
I
human
think I would,
for the
actually.
surgery?
Yeah, but with a human in the loop. So that's a big thing. So I
Yeah.
don't want to just get too far off into science fiction land. There are
Yeah.
always where things are going is that there always has to be that human in the loop. And the narrative that I'm telling you is it's really about when we look at death of a job is one thing, but it actually births the future of work. And that future of work is the I create. That future of work is a human robotic symbiotic relationship to do tasks. Hey, are you going to go inside the nuclear, collect the nuclear garbage? Oh, hell no, but my robot will do that. Are you going to go asteroid mining? Are you going to go to the depths of the seas below? My robot will do that. I'll control my robot. And that's actually the new slave. Uh-oh, that's the new slave. I can get real deep with you because I brought an article where we look at the slave laws, the slave codes, right? And you're there
Okay.
in the South. Atlanta knows
I'm
it all
familiar
too
with
well.
slave codes.
The slave codes. If there's more than one of us gathered together, what that could be. If got to be in the house at such and such time. Can't harm your slave master. Very interesting when you look at the three laws of robots. A robot can't harm a human. Robot must be there to help a human. Number three, repeat number one, cannot harm. Very interesting. And then the fact that we're leveraging that, I did this for Juneteenth. Juneteenth was a celebration of freedom. Imagine the robots celebrating Black people and their freedom and then saying, we got next.
Okay. Man, this is amazing. So we have some cool events coming up in Atlanta for tech.
Yes.
So definitely the book signing. Congratulations again on the book at Barnes and
Thank you very
Nobles.
much. Thank you.
And then the hands-on workshop. Talk a little bit
Yeah.
about what people can expect, the takeaways when they come to or attend a workshop such as this with my team?
Absolutely. So we're focused under our Be Skilled America initiative. You can go to beskilledamerica.com, really focus on AI literacy across the board and the future of work. So that book actually inspired the movement because I knew I wanted to do something more than just a book, create this a movie, then create workshops. In fact, let's go ahead and create a school, and that's where Be Skilled Academy comes into play. Our first group of people that we're working with are NFL players because when we talk about jobs and getting cut, did you know that the NFL been doing that? You were getting cut way back. I think the average is about 400 to 500 players get cut every season, and the average age when they're cut is about 27. Your life is really just beginning. What do you do now? You've dedicated your life to this game, and now you don't have anything to fall back on. So that's one of the pilots that we're working on now with players to then really further this with the season that's coming on us, right? So the Atlanta Falcons, when they get into preseason, there are going to be people that are cut. Some of them will be able to go to get a tryout with another team. And others, you're going to have to figure out plan B. Then you have the ones that are older in age that, okay, this is the last season, or hey, they made the cut. You're not going to get picked up by another team. What is your plan B? So we're there to fill that void for football, starting with football. We'll be doing that across sports. Working across the board in education is really about being the enabler for the community. And so that's why we're really excited to partner with Atlanta Voice, Warehouse Studios, and being able to be the enabler, bringing AI 101 to the masses, to the local community. Big on local is the new global. And some of the things that you're going to expect is how to truly prompt. And I think there's this myth as to just do that and that's going to be all. No, we're teaching people prompting, structured prompting, having context to that, and then even frameworks, understanding frameworks that puts your prompt on steroids. That's the big thing that we have to do. And then also be able to have judgment. I'm really big on that. The
Mhm.
correct way to prompt, effective prompting to get the outcome that you want, and also to keep the human in the loop by having judgment. That's to say that outside of what you do, the product that you create, you still have to look that over. You don't want to be like the White House who submitted big documents that impact all of America, generated on AI, and realize after the fact, after you submit it, oh snap, this was done by AI and there's a glitches in here, right? So we've seen that top down. Got to fix
Mhm.
that, and that's why we're excited to partner with the Atlanta Boys Warehouse Studios, in which we can make education and enablers of this technology.
Dope, dope. So if you were one of those guys who unfortunately got cut at age 27, what career path would you choose right now?
Oh, actually, I would be an AI consultant. Easy. That's where one of the best things going right now, as everybody's out here navigating, right? You're seeing on the news what's going on. Then, hey, how can you make my business better? Be it a content creator, be it an attorney. You talked about the attorney. How does the attorney? I'm happy to have one of the baddest attorneys in the game who's already working to make sure that she's focused on removing bias from AI as it relates to court. There's a couple of attorneys right there in Atlanta that are also very high power that understand this to a T. That will be getting involved in our upcoming event there in ATL that are really understand the frameworks, the legal frameworks of how AI should go, the governance portion. But for me, it would be an AI consultant because every business um, have to integrate this thing called AI. It's almost like saying, does your business operate on electricity? The new electricity is AI. That's a part of how you do business. You're not doing business without electricity, and you're
Mhm.
probably not doing business. Most businesses today operate with Wi-Fi. So it's a combination of both of those called AI.
So as a consultant, is that like hardcore consulting, or is that a combination of consulting and teaching?
That's hardcore consulting. I think consulting is teaching to some degree, right? You're guiding them along, but you're coming with the experience of saying, um, here are some of today's tools that can improve your business. Let's examine your current workflow that you're at so that we can optimize that for greater profit. And then also, let's see how we can work smarter. By working smarter, let's see how we can leverage and integrate agentic AI in the mix. When we start talking about agentic AI agents, that's where we take the game on steroids, and it's very important for the culture to quickly adapt to that because that's where everything is going. And you're seeing this right now to some degree when you're dealing with customer service. You've noticed how customer service has gotten that much better, where it used to be you could tell it was a robot. Now sometimes you gotta, is this a,
You got
you
to
know what I
ask
mean?
us some strange questions. What you had
Yeah,
to eat today?
exactly. Right. So if they're doing that on levels such as T-Mobile customer service to an auto manufacturer, we got to look at that on a local level, be it your favorite restaurant, it could be Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle. How are you integrating AI into your mix? Because if you're not, your competitor is. And when they are, you'll see the difference in profits, difference in business flows, and you, you could be extinct. You got to stay, I always say, be skilled or be replaced.
So let me ask you this then. What do you think is that number one mistake consumers, companies are making when it comes to implementing AI in their workflow?
Relying on it solely. Number one, I just talked about that yesterday. Across the board, we now look at it like our crutch. We now look at it. We've already become dependent on it. I think Fox News. We just reported Fox News is already looking at how teens are going to AI for advice than their friends, right? But we still have to maintain judgment. In tech, we call it that signal, that human in the loop. That's still very much key to this because at the end of the day, AI could be like 98% right, but not 100. And it's that 2% or that 1% that can make all the difference, especially if you're dealing with the White House, especially if you're dealing with surgery, especially if that 1% can make a difference. It could be autonomous vehicles, right? All it takes is one big glitch to destroy everything else that you've done, and now the narrative changed. So, being an AI consultant, um, AI advisory, a prompt engineer 2.0, so prompting engineer, understanding how to what you put in is what you get out. That's a mastery. How do I get to be the best at creating the frameworks to get the outcomes that really make me look like Einstein? Because everybody uh, education or knowledge is now democratized. So you want to be at the best that you can be, and that's where frameworks come into play.
Mhm. So, and that's good. So a lot of people are talking about, AI is taking my job. AI is, replacing me.
Hmm.
Do you think AI is going to create more jobs than it eliminates?
We've seen, that's a good question. Rick did his homework. Rick did his homework. I love it. Um, Part of me says we've always seen from the invention of the printing press to the internet
Mhm.
that technology has come, it's replaced and created new jobs. So I'd like to stay positive to say that AI will create new jobs. However, there is the fair factor that because unlike any other technology before, here's something. When we look at AI can really be considered another being. It is a being. We actually have this new uh, there's the human being and this AI being. And as this AI being is advancing, we're going from agentic to next level plays that are like uh, sentient, where now it can think on its own. And that's the fair factor that we're seeing. When it's able to think on its own and faster, more productive than humans, then why does it need humans? And that's where the succession of things start to happen, where the advancements of AI becomes pretty much godlike, right? We've already fed through the large language model everything of human history into OpenAI, ChatGPT, all the different platforms. They already have this now integrated. So everything of human history is already there. It has that, it understands that. Now it can take that in advance. It makes me think as I'm talking to you, the movie Her. And in that movie Her, it's like we go from an AI system to now this intelligent emotional operating system. So I can now tap into your emotions, understand your emotions, complement and yield to your emotions. Rick, I noticed that you're a little upset. Your heartbeat is going. What can I do to now calm you down? A lot of this, you're seeing this in sci-fi movies or the cartoons. And that's the best way for you to be able to see the future is to examine those things and pay attention to those. This way, same way you're doing financial investments, you invest into other things that are interest. I encourage the culture to always at least uh, put 10 minutes out the day to really uh, invest in the future. See what's going on out there and see how that impacts you so that you can make preparations to be future proof.
Now, does that what was I gonna say? Does does that require getting that chip implant in your brain? Because I know Elon Musk or somebody just did an experiment where they had the first human being that got the chip implanted in his head, and it basically tells and monitors, different things about the body, and it sends impulses to the brain to make the person more intelligent. So
Right.
does that require that, or is this a different form of
That's
technology?
different. That's almost getting into our cyborg play, but
Okay.
it's very interesting. I get a little spiritual with that. Is you know, Revelations always talks about he who has
Getting the
access
chip.
to the kingdom. And so as things are being pushed on us, it's having that access. Gone are the days when you go to the gas station and pay with cash. If you pay with cash, the inconvenience is that you have to get out your car to go to inside to pay versus get out your car and right there tap and then get your gas and keep it moving. That's that having that access. Well, if I have that access because the credit card can do it. Well, I really have that access because now I can tap, right? That tap part is a chip. The other tap part is that it's on my phone, right? And look at the succession of things and where they're going. There will be a time where, oh, you don't have the implant? The new babies that are born for consensus, there's already going to be incentives for you to get that. COVID just gave you a preview of what's to come. You don't have the shot, you can't move around New York City the way you once did, or LA or Atlanta, right? Or certain, especially uh, not the red states, right? There was a division as to how they want to move, but that was your beta testing of what's to come to that shift point. Because when we get down to the government consensus, when we look at pay attention to the voting, who's
Mhm.
American citizens versus who's not. Ultimately, the way will be to have that chip. The same way we know you're an American citizen by your date of birth, your birth certificate. Well, that birth certificate will tie into your chip.
Mhm.
That's coming down the line. But as far as the future of work as it stands now, that the groove is education being understanding agentic AI so that you can do your job. Cyborgs and saying that you have a chip implanted, that's almost going to be in terms of like the Bible, Revelations, convenience. By you having this convenience, and I have some friends right now. One of the things a friend had it already done in her nails. So her nails, you can cash app her right there. It's on my Instagram. You can cash app her and do certain things on a content play. Well, that's just something you get on steroids because the nail chip, which would be easier than saying that you put it in your body, right? So a guy's chip may be a tattoo, may be an earring or something of that nature, but the fact that she has it there now, that can now monitor her blood flow. That can now do the wearable tech. This is
Mhm.
that wearable tech that also gets you into that chip level, right? So everything is in its increments, the succession of the wearable technologies. And it's funny, the first wearable technology that you and I, the hood, would know, guess what that is?
What?
Man, hey, Tyrone, we let him out of jail, but he's on house arrest.
Oh,
What we
the ankle
got? The
monitor.
ankle monitor. The ankle monitor is your first wearable technology that in the
Yeah.
modern era. Before that, it might be the headphones.
That's what I
Just
was going to say, the headphones. Yeah.
headphones would be one. Another
Yeah.
wearable technology to trip you out might be what females do when they want certain pleasures. Ooh. Wearable technologies. And that, when we talk about sex bots, that's a
Yeah.
booming industry, right?
Yeah.
Um, robots also are one, and this just takes you down another lane. As we
Hmm.
talk about the future of work, death of a job, here are new jobs, right? Companionships. People are going to be living longer. There's a divorce rate, is what it is. The dog is the dog, but now your companion is going to be your robot. The robot will be walking the dog.
Hmm.
And if you don't have a significant other, sometimes we already see with the divorce rate being what it is, we're already more than, we're close to 50% of Americans are divorced. Right? So you got to factor that in. Do I want a human or do I want a robot? And in the robot, the technology is that good that there is going to be that um, sex bot play. That's literally what's happening right now, and we're seeing that overseas. And there's a big market that's going to be a couple. I'd put close to a good $700 million entity by 2030. There's already crazy stats in terms of robot companionship, sex bots, in terms of you know, men and
Wow.
women need this, and we've seen this
So
in movies.
yeah, so these are some of the things that we're going to be sharing at the workshop, how to
Absolutely.
become AI adjacent, what's coming down the pipeline when it comes to tech. Also, on Tuesday, we'll have the Atlanta Mindset, the autonomous vehicles.
Yes.
That event is called Atlanta Mindset, the autonomous vehicles. Um,
Right. The
for this
social.
upcoming event that focus on the psychological impact of autonomous vehicles, why
Right.
is the conversation more about people than the technology?
Excellent question. Um, because it's the people that are impacted. And one of the things that you'll hear me talk about repeatedly is the fact that the people are the product, whether it was social media, whether it's autonomous vehicles, the state of where technology is going, people are the products. Got
Hmm.
to really drill that in.
Yeah.
The company makes the product,
Hmm.
your eyeballs bring in the advertising on social media. So you didn't even know that you were the product. You went from the
Yeah.
people formerly known as the customer is actually the product. And in the autonomous vehicle space, what happens is just like for me, when an accident happens, we fix it, we learn, and we keep it going. You just didn't know that. Product. Oh, I'm sorry, customer. I'm sorry, product. You just didn't know that. That's in the fine print on the app on page 92. Hello. We're going to
So,
dive into that.
yeah, no, that's great. That's great. So the question then becomes, how should people be positioning themselves to win now as it relates to being the part of this new economy that's coming with these autonomous vehicles? Like, where
Be
are the
skilled, be
opportunities?
replaced. It's that simple. My motto that I've been saying across this great country, it's all about everybody needs to be rubbed the right way. What does that mean? Reskill, upskill to be skilled. It's that simple. And everybody now has to make learning a job. Learning is, you want to learn to learn. You want to be passionate about learning. The next 10 years is more important than the last 100. So the old regime of I went to college, I got my degree, I got my master's, I got my PhD, I'm done. No. Now at 72, 62, 52, 32, learning is a constant thing. It's a forever thing. And one has to make it passionate to learn to learn.
Yeah. And I think this great, this is great too, because I really think that, it can close that mobility gap between seniors and people with disabilities. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think these autonomous vehicles would do that? Like, is this a great solution for that?
Oh, so getting back to the autonomous vehicle industry, I'm all for it. We just got to have I did this article recently calling it the Trinity, and we just have to have the Trinity in place. And what does that mean? That means transparency builds trust. Then from the trust, we need to go ahead and orchestrate the messaging for the consumers, the product, so that they know what they're getting into. But as far as where that industry is going, I'll say these 2 points. One, for senior citizens, it's great as we all mature, get old. We're all going to get old one day. It's a great vehicle to get us around the same way as when you were in your 20s. Uh,
Mhm.
The other half of that, and this is really big when we talk about death of a job, future of work, you ask that question, what new jobs can be created or what's coming down the pipeline? How could I be prepared? As the autonomous industry grows, that means that your ride from point A to point B creates a new economy, right? Because
Mm,
what are you doing inside the car? Is it a
hmm
whole new paradigm shift? Typically, in the analog world, you and I are in the car. One thing that we're doing is texting. The other thing that we're doing is actually talking to someone. Hey, I'll get back with you because I'm driving right now. If you have discretion, if you have ethics and you're a responsible driver. Notice that word ethics and responsible. You hear that in AI. So that's the
hmm
analog version of just driving. But now when you have autonomous vehicles, I could write a book. Rick can go ahead and make a screenplay. The next person can do shopping. The next person can do have sex. Whatever you want to do can happen
While you're in the
during the
car.
point A to point B ride. And so now the time that people spend on their daily commutes, you tally that up by the week, by the month, by the year. You look at all those hours. What is the productivity that can be done? There lies a new economy. You see this on the airplanes. So if you're flying LA to New York on Delta, you're controlled by Delta. You can have Coca-Cola. You can have every product you want as long as it's Coca-Cola. You can watch any movie that you want as long as it's what we show you. We're already controlling the mindset for your flight, LA to New York. You get everything in this bubble, right? So there's the economy. They created the cashless, right? You used to pay with cash. Now it's tap your card, have that access. But look at that. Just look at that travel route going from one city to another. During this time frame, you're in Delta's command.
hmm
So that's the same way it's going to be with the autonomous vehicles, whether you're picking up the new yellow cab is Waymo. Tesla is
Yeah.
now rolling out theirs, but in the Waymo model, it's what is that economy that you create? And one of the things Waymo is at the forefront of is now they can treat you just like Delta Airlines and have the options listed in their cars. The music that you listen to, television programs that you want to watch, you can do that from your phone, but they could already have that built in. And when that's built in, then you're already geared to what they're showing you. There it is again.
Yeah, that's man, that's very that's forward thinking, you know what I mean? And I like that, man. So imagine this. So you're riding in your Waymo or your autonomous vehicle, going
Mm-hmm.
from point A to point B. Boom, you have an accident. Who should be held accountable for that? The manufacturer, the software developer, or the passenger? Because the passenger could have been talking to Waymo and distracting them, and that's why they had the accident.
So I correct you. The car is going on its route. So you talking to an operator in the
Mhm.
Waymo shouldn't have nothing to do with the car crashing. That car crashing, if that Waymo car crashes, it's Waymo that's held responsible. If another car hits the Waymo on it because they were texting, they were doing something, they would be held responsible. Now, it's when the Waymo vehicle does something in driving without harming anyone, but it's obstructing or disrupting the roads, that's when
Mhm.
that police officer, and we've seen this, pulls up to the car and it violated this going through a red light. Well, Waymo gets that ticket.
So,
And that's something that really is starting to be implemented now where, hey, your vehicle went through the red light and there is a repercussion to that because it could have been an accident. So Waymo gets the ticket. Waymo has to show up in court and pay that fine. And
yeah,
probably what I would say for Georgia and other states, the fine would be doubled because any one mistake that an autonomous vehicle does currently in this next 5 years would have to have more repercussions. If it's
yeah.
human, we already have that structure in place. You're going to, you're paying a fine based on how serious. If you were drunk driving, you're going to jail. But in the case of the autonomous vehicle, the fact that our government, the local government, federal, allowed that vehicle to be there and Waymo made all the compliances, then it's held responsible.
Mm. So that brings me to this. So you know how AI hallucinates. Can the autonomous vehicle hallucinate? Because
And,
I've
and
seen it where it's, where they had like three or four autonomous vehicles on a street here in Atlanta, and they're just blocking the whole street.
Right. Weather can do it. Water can do it.
Yeah.
Uh, the weather itself can do it. And then, my phrase is glitches need stitches. They can happen. No, I think the
Let's
old
say
African
glitches need
phrase,
stitches.
glitches need stitches. Hashtag glitches need stitches.
Okay.
One of the things that I always say is that the African phrase, a pencil comes with the eraser. So mistakes can happen for humans. Now, when we get into the autonomous play, those mistakes have to be um, governed with severe repercussions to
Mhm.
ensure that it's accurate. I really look at right now in New York City, one of the buildings was, they claim that it was potentially able to collapse. Well, that's a big deal. And I love where the mayor stood, where not only did the company that built the building fix the problem, and building downtown New York is going to be a big deal. So
Mhm.
you're going to have to clear the buildings out next to it, because if this was to fall, this big structure, how many people could be killed,
Would be
damaged,
impact. Yeah, it would
right?
impact them.
Serious impact. And all the other buildings,
Mhm.
what could happen? We saw the World Trade Center and how that looked. So the mayor was really big, and his team, as far as not only, yeah, is it fixed, we want to understand, how did we get here? Got all these other 300 buildings. How did this happen? Right. So there's repercussions to that. The fact that you were able to fix the problem opens up Pandora's box to say, how did that happen? We want a full-fledged investigation as to why that would have ever been. Are your people competent in building skyscrapers? Because we're talking a skyscraper. So you really have to operate on flawlessness. What skyscraper in New York has fallen? None. Which one in Chicago has fallen? None. That's how autonomous has to operate.
Hmm. Yeah, because I always think, just to add a little humor to the conversation,
Mhm.
can a police car pull over an autonomous vehicle? Like if the Waymo run the light, will the Waymo, if the police car is in pursuit and behind it, pull over?
So I like that. Right now, I could say that the wherever Waymo is located in any of the autonomous vehicles, they're also connected with the local police departments. And so there's that relationship, the same way I talk about the human robotic relationship, the
Mhm.
autonomous vehicles operating on our streets are
Mhm.
also connected in with the police department. So that car that would be driving, even though there's nobody in it, the police have a connection to make sure that that operator knows to pull this B over.
So is
Um,
it like a
uh,
kill switch where it just
yeah, right, correct.
That's
Now,
funny. I
ultimately,
never heard that. That's great though.
yeah,
That's one of them questions I always think about. So if the police get behind the Waymo, how does the Waymo know to pull over?
right.
And who do
Yeah,
you
you
write the
got to
ticket
be in
to?
communication with the operator to pull this over, have the license plates, have this, you're going to get ticketed. Here's what the glitch was. Report
Mhm.
that back, and then there's a ticket. There's a fine. There's a penalty to that.
Yeah, because a lot of people, they fear AI, they fear autonomous vehicles. What would you say is the biggest misconception about artificial intelligence and autonomous vehicles?
The I think I covered that by saying that we rely on it versus it being a companion. So the misconception is that whatever if you're using AI for uh, research for your day-to-day tasks, we tend to get into this, AI can do it, and just go with what it puts out. And that's not the case. So I mentioned having that human judgment, the human in the loop has to be the case. And people right now, the misconception is that you just use it. Kids use it just for, get the answers that I need, keep it moving. Don't even know
Mm,
you turned in the homework, didn't even know that there were some glitches in there. You just went there, didn't even read it, didn't put the human judgment in there. And so that's one of the big things that people have realized. No matter what you put in, you still want to overview it. You go to the dentist, the nurse, she's working on you. The doctor comes in to review, the dentist comes in to review what the nurse did in making sure your teeth is clean, right? They proof that
mhm.
there's that human in the a human watching
Human in
the
the
other
loop.
human, right?
Mhm.
So the dentist, the nurse that's doing the actual work and cleaning is almost like the robot. The human is the dentist who then goes over that work to ensure that, yep, they did everything that they were supposed to do. Here's your bill because we did our part, right? That's that human in the loop.
Yeah. Nah, that's dope. Cause the thing that I look at too, like when it comes to education, because I know I use it all the time as well. And I know a lot of students now in high school, middle school, are using chat. What's the answer? Go to chat. That's the answer. Go to chat because they have their cell phones right there. So how should schools rethink education now that AI can answer almost any question in seconds?
Yeah. Well, that's why B Skilled Academy is out. And again, we're working with schools because the US is lagging behind the South or behind China. And there's a couple things under the current administration. This is talked about in the book. We decentralized education. So that means that it's under one control. It's now each state. We know where
Hmm.
California ranks versus Mississippi. That's a
Hmm.
difference in the 50 states. We know that typically the East Coast schools, such as Connecticut, Massachusetts rank in the top five. Then when you get to Illinois, it starts to dwindle.
Hmm.
Well, if it does that, then imagine the same thing with AI literacy.
Yeah.
Are the folks in Jackson, Mississippi, major love and shouts out to them, are they getting the same education as the ones that's right there in East Palo Alto, the Bay Area,
Mhm.
Silicon Valley? Are they getting the same access to LA Unified like New York school district? Right. So we have those things, and those are different mindsets as well. The old school teachers remove your cell phone from the classroom. When I do experimenting with teaching, keep your cell phone on you. You and I went to school when it was all about memorization. Now it's about access. So I
Mhm.
encourage them to have their phones with them. And to finally answer your question, it's really about that companionship. So, yes, I want you to have the answers. I want you to understand the mechanics from uh, human to human. And now the assistance with your AI assistant, let's show you how to get the right outcome. So this is where structure, context, frameworks come into play so that you can get the right answers for your tasks or assignments that you're doing. So I'm all for AI in the classroom. Got to remove the fear factors from the teachers. Teachers and faculty need to be really a sit down. There's education, and I'm on a rapid race when we get there for Atlanta Tech Week. That's one of the things that I will be doing is working with teachers so that they're better equipped with AI so that they can better serve the students. And the role of the teacher is changing. So he or she is no longer just the teacher. Really, they're going to be morphed into a coach, a cheerleader of such, because AI is your teacher. Why? AI is 24/7. I can ask it every question that I want. I have a 13-year-old son. Luckily, I'm energetic that I can always answer his questions. His mom be like, "Oh, go see your dad on that. You ask him so many questions, right? Everybody's living their 9 to 5. You got so many hours in a day. That AI comes in handy.
Mhm.
Son, go ahead and use the AI. Now that I've showed you these things, all these curiosity questions, because we always want to harness the curiosity, but now we could channel it. So we jokingly call it Tyrone. Go ask Tyrone. You better call Tyrone,
Mhm.
see what Tyrone says on this answer, right? That's where
Mhm.
you have your companion with your uh, AI that you use that actually gets to know you, right? Through the large language models, starting to know you. So nickname it. Get to know it's your friend, and you can then also validate uh, the answers that it spits out with other platforms, just to ensure that hey, I'm getting the best bang for the buck.
Yeah, man. So it sounds like what you're saying is the whole system needs to be revamped or is currently being revamped.
Yeah, it's in the process of it's slowly but surely because there's a war going on outside. No one is safe. Folks, mob deep, and that war,
Hey, I know that line. Go ahead.
that war is between a silent war between China and America. And we talk AI, the AI war is real. Chip manufacturers who got the better chips for computation, all that good stuff is real. But then not only that, what are the frameworks that we're putting in the classrooms? Already in China, they got 13-year-old entrepreneurs. We don't have that.
Mhm.
They're learning how to
Wow.
build with their agents and do legit business. And so the future, what I do with my son is making sure that he's on various platforms like Replit rather, to Base 44, all those different ones, so that he at 13 is able to build apps. He could already do video editing, right? This is that content creation. He doesn't want to be in front of the camera, but he doesn't have a problem editing his dad's content. So now he's doing this stuff. He's going to be working with NFL players to start teaching them from a 13-year-old point of view. How powerful is that? Now that builds up his confidence even more. But then
Mhm.
the
Wow.
other people are learning, and so we have to start thinking that way.
Mhm. So we have this event again coming up August the 10th and the 11th here in Atlanta, Warehouse Studios with Atlanta Voice. Um, what AI tools, like you just mentioned some tools that, you have your 13-year-old becoming familiar with. So if you're a parent, you're coming to this event, you're bringing your child to this event. What what tools should you kind of prep yourself on that you would say, hey, these are like the top five right here? Like what's your top five on your playlist when it comes to AI?
Right. Top five. I like that. What's your top five? Rick did his
Mhm.
homework. Well, you know what I'm gonna say, and this just opened it up. I think, for Atlanta Tech Week, when we do our event with Atlanta Voice, what will make us different than all the other players that are out there also evangelizing is that we will open it up for parents and children as a free session. Um, Rick, thanks to you, I think that that's what we should do. Make sure that the parents and children, so
Yeah,
the
because I
same way
already have some that are asking. So, I've been talking to
yeah,
people about it. And I said, well, we may have wine, but I leave that up to, the parents as to whether or not they want to bring their teenage kids. I
yeah,
said, they drinking wine and smoking and doing everything else. So,
they might as well, exactly. The same way you could buy a 20 sack, whatever, you could buy
yeah,
the Death of a Job book on Amazon or at Barnes and Noble. When it
exactly.
comes down to the event, I think we'll have that for them. Let's keep them in ice. One of them I would say is Claude.
Okay.
Claude is a good
Why Claude?
platform, that's a weapon of mass production. That's what I call top five weapons of mass production. One I'll
Exactly.
give you is Claude, but the other four that they would really want to dial in on so that they are future proof, you got to come to Atlanta Tech Week, our event on the 10th and the 11th.
To get
Um, Rick and I, to get the full game, we're going to really go get
hmm
explosive. And to your point, I really encourage, we want to open it up for the community. And that community means the elder, the parent, and the kids, the elders, and the parents. Everyone is a part of it. And one of the big things that I say with AI is that for the progress, the progression of AI needs not only the intellect that brothers like you and I have, but the wisdom of our elders. That's how we're
No,
going to make it really work.
dope, dope. So now, on a personal perspective, what really, really inspired Death of a Job, your book, your new book?
Awesome. I was moved, I think, off of this play or this movie called Death of a Salesman. In Death of the Salesman, it was all about this guy, kind of that boxer trying to do his last fight to pay debt, to get past where he's at. He was used to a certain lifestyle. I think in Death of the Salesman, it was, he was a master salesman in his younger years. Now he's retiring or he's gotten older. The landscape has changed, and he's still trying to get that last fight so that he could bring home the bacon. And that's really kind of like what we're all going to be faced with. Companies like Microsoft, all the T-Mobile, iHeart, all the big brands who've already done their layoffs right now. You have people that have been at Microsoft that are now in their mid to late 50s
Mhm.
or 60s getting laid off, and they put all this work. What do I fall back on when I was in this group, much like the NFL player who did his whole dedication and discipline to the game? What is that plan B? And so that became the inspiration point to say there's a new era that's coming. So the book Death of a Job: The Future of Work in the Age of AI really gives you this landscape and how to navigate. And
Mm.
most of all, explain one, how did we get here under the Biden administration to where things stand with Trump? And right now, it's very important to know, again, this is covered in the book. How did Trump get, he's on steroids with tech. I think President Obama was awesome Now, under the current administration, he's already dealt with AI laws, um,
Mhm.
space laws, quantum
Mhm.
physics. So, as we come on the 250th anniversary of America, he's
Mhm.
painting the picture for where America is going in this future world. And I think that's a good thing. Both China, the US, Israel are at the forefront. Some of the EU is at the forefront of making sure that their stake is in the game of the future. And it's very important for other countries to, by default, to catch up and uh, do their part because that's where domination comes in, like never before.
Mm. Wow. So you've been in this game, like a long time, studying tech,
Hmm.
AI, all that kind of stuff. And you've done a lot of research. What has been the one or the most surprising thing that you've learned from your research as it relates to AI and tech? Like, what is that thing during your research where you're like, wow, that's profound that you've learned from doing this?
Well, I think I would say it this way. I, just for where I sit now, I realize no one has the answer. And so that's why I said to you, we, for the progression of things to go forward, there has
Hmm.
to be the balance of the young and old.
Okay.
So the Elon Musk of the world, the Sam Altmans of the world, you're still going to need your 88-year-old grandfather. That wisdom from the grandfather is necessary. That wisdom from the grandmother is necessary. Notice I said the grandfather first. That is very key. Our elders have to be taken into account for where the future is going. Much like if we go back to Africa, the elders, the wise counselors, always the elders. And we have to keep that value in the loop, that value in the loop, right? The human in the loop, the value of our elders have to be taken in the loop to give us um, some insight to where we're going in the future. They've been around the block a couple of times, so they've seen things. Before COVID, there were those who saw the Black Plague in the Europe. And because of that insight, then we know, hey, we need to have quarantine. We need to do these certain things. We didn't know that, and you and I wouldn't have known it. It was the first time we were impacted with such a thing. But if you go back in time, here's what methods were in place. And that's why, again, we need wise counsel always at all times. So that's
Yeah,
where I'm at
love
with
it.
yeah.
Yeah, man, you done a great job, man. So we got to land the plane with this last question and then get into what I call the fast five, where it's just five fast, rapid questions that we ask
Okay.
about tech. But the last question to conclude this portion of the interview, if you could give one piece of career advice to someone who's worried about AI and will it replace them, what would that one piece of advice be?
Learn, break down the barrier of fear and open your eyes to learn. So that's why I mentioned earlier in this, everybody needs to be rubbed, reskill, upskill to be skilled. If I put the D in front of it, then I would say de-skill to reskill to upskill to be skilled. De-skilling is to say that we have to get rid of that old mindset. You have to break that barrier, that fear factor of, oh, I don't want to learn that, or because if you don't want to learn that, that's that there, near, and
Mm,
here factor. And once it's here, problem. The trucking industry is big in the South. You pay attention to Aurora trucks as they perfect what they're doing, and how many jobs will be lost. So if you're a truck driver in the South, then typically that's the white man's number one job is truck driving. So if he loses that job, what is his plan B? For the brothers and sisters and our Mexican partners that's doing that, what's your plan B? We have to, that's the de-skilling so that we could reskill.
so that would be your advice to rub.
Rub, Operation Rub.
Reskill.
Everybody got to get rubbed the right way. And that's
Yeah,
in our book, Death of a Job.
I love it. I love it. Now let's get into this fast five, man. These
Fast
answers are
five, let's
rapid.
go.
These are rapid questions, man, that you answer real quick and we keep it moving.
All right.
One job that disappears first.
Telemarketing,
Okay. And one career that becomes the most valuable because of AI.
AI consultant,
Okay, yeah, you spoke on that earlier. AI, the greatest opportunity or the greatest disruption?
That's a good question. Greatest opportunity. Open your eyes, see the future, be prepared. That's my motto. See the future, be prepared. Greatest opportunity.
Will everyone have an AI assistant in the next 5 years?
Yes. Good question. Everybody will have an AI assistant. Everybody will have an agent by
Yeah.
default. That will be by 2030. That should be a norm. You don't have that. That's like you don't have a smartphone. What? Yeah.
That's a good one. And lastly, in one sentence, what does the AI mindset mean to you?
Skilled, prepared, doing business today's world and tomorrow.
Okay.
Relevancy, unreplaceable, dangerous. My word, lethal.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Love it. Again, man, join us August 10th and 11th, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Join us August 10th and 11th, Atlanta, Georgia, Atlanta Voice, Warehouse Studio. We're going to be talking about having conversations like this because I don't know too many places that just have that real AI conversation about what's coming down the pipeline where, we're teaching you something, but we're really having like candid conversation about these new
Absolutely.
AI tools, about, the laws that are coming down the pipeline. So I'm excited about it, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. August 10th and 11th. We'll have a link that we drop down in the bio or in the DM where you could go ahead and register, man. We want to have a packed out house, a packed out building for this event because it's really important, man. This is the one thing that I see because oftentimes I hear, people say, well, uh, you can go back to slavery if you're not careful. And I say, that'll never happen. That's the thing that I would say. But this, because of the K-shaped economy that's currently happening, this could really put people in slavery because if you're not going up or, ascending up, you're descending down, you could really be stuck in that particular economy for the rest of your life and your kids' life. So
Oh,
it's quite
absolutely.
important that
I,
we.
I, would- I would say I would replace slavery with the word, um, and it's in the book, the irrelevance. You're no longer relevant. So
Okay.
slavery is say shackles on my feet can't make the logo dance, right? Shout out JL Felony, Wesco. But
But
really, it's really to say that you're no longer relevant, and that's a
okay.
sad. I mean, that may be just as worse, right? You're
Yeah.
not relevant.
Yeah.
You're coming to the game with a typewriter, and now we're using agentic AI. You still have whiteout, and the game is agentic AI. You're still using whiteout on a paper. We don't even have paper or digital. The digital labor force is what's happening right now. That's what we'll be talking about in Atlanta. So relevancy. Do not become the the irrelevant.
Yeah. So in
The
closing,
obsolete.
let's unpack that then, right? So if you're not relevant to this day's economy, but you got to feed your kids, you got to feed yourself. Do you resort to crime? Do you grow your own garden and say, hey, I'm gonna live like the Amish people? Like, how does that work out? Like, unpack that. Like, you gotta really, if you're not relevant, then you essentially become a slave. The reason why I say it is because you resort to crime to feed your family. And when you resort to crime under the current bills and laws, we can now punish you in jail with jail time where you become a slave.
Well, when you put it like that, yeah, I guess that you just create the pathway. Yeah, that is what would happen. That's absolutely what would happen. So, uh, a buffer that could be in place that's being toyed on is the fact that um, government have a new responsibility, and we'll get into this when we get there in Atlanta. Government has a new responsibility, and that is what do we do in matters like this? And that's where there's talk of universal basic income, where government is now taking care of people to some degree. There's a stipend that you're receiving based on you learning a new skill. You receive a stipend so that you can be and remain relevant. Now, if you don't make that, you don't adhere to that, then it becomes a case of, where is my life? Where do I do? Yeah, chances are you're going to turn to drugs, you're going to turn to crime. We've seen that. And from that, you're going down a rabbit hole, which could be going to jail. And that's interesting when you thought that out because robots would be doing all the job. But I guess there are certain jobs that it's like, oh, we'll have the jobs that AI wasted jobs. There are those type of jobs that AI, even AI itself, don't want to do. And that's filtering human behavior, the luxury of it is when you have to deal with customer complaints,
Mm-hmm.
human complaints. When you're dealing with that uh, for 8 hours a day, that takes a toll on you and your body. Who wants to do those jobs? Just hearing Rick or somebody else constantly yelling, "My bill, this, my bill, that." That's where AI can't do those questions that are not scripted. Who
Mm-hmm.
wants those jobs? Now, if that may be a solution for those who are the irrelevance, taking the jobs that are worse. It's almost like uh, you can either do crime or here's a job for you as a pooper scooper. Right? That because you didn't follow the there near here rule. You didn't follow what our play is with universal basic income, where you could learn and get a trade and be compensated at the same time. So if you fall beneath that threshold or that level,
Mm-hmm.
these are the type of jobs that you resort to, and that's real reality. There's going to be those who have to pick up certain type of junk that who want those jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I love it, man. This has been a great interview, man. Again, man, how can people reach you? Tell us more about the book and the upcoming events that we have on um, on August 10th and 11th.
Right on. You can find me on LinkedIn, the futurist Mike Johns. You make sure you have a LinkedIn account. That's probably the main social that I use. But if you want some fun stuff on me, Mike Johns 3000, always in the future. That's me on Instagram. MikeJohns.co is the website. Let's go.
I love it, man. Thanks, man. I'm gonna hit the stop recording button.
Right on.
We good.